Thanks, Dan. Just a quick check. My screen is currently visible to everyone.
Yes.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Shavik, as Dan already introduced me, and today, along with my colleague Shalini, I'll be walking you through some of the features that we released in our version 10, codenamed Darwin, for the VoltaMX product July of last year. And we will also be going through some of the advancements which we have released since then till date, and some features that are upcoming over the next few months or so. Before we dive into uh, Voltamex, what's new for V10, let us take a quick overview of the Voltamex product itself for those that are not familiar. So, Voltamex is a multi experience app development platform. Its primary advantage over many of its competitors is that you basically code for all these different channels: mobile, wearables, desktop, cars, tablets, using a single code base. And you do not need any specialized language to code. Uh, there are two IDEs. One, which is Leap, which is on the web, it is a no code tool. And the other one for professional developers is called Iris, which basically install on your Mac or your Windows system. And there it can support either low code or low code, pro code or low code application development. But the language you use to code your applications is JavaScript. uh, Once you code your application in JavaScript, it gets converted to whatever is the underlying native language using our patented omnichannel widget library and API layer, the framework called Flare. So what you get as an output eventually, at least from with the Iris and Flare combination, is a pure native API. It's not hybrid, it's pure native. This binary in the end connects to your backend, or it integrates with your data sources using a middleware called the Foundry. Foundry, other than simply being a middleware, it also provides certain additional features like workflow. It can generate metrics. It can provide engagement services, like it can send push notifications. It can manage passes. It can send emails. So there are many other features that are associated with Foundry than just being a data integration layer. But of course, its basic and most common use case is being the data integration middleware layer. Besides that, we of course have the DevOps and automated testing layers, and the whole bundle is available as a SaaS offering on AWS Cloud. But you can also deploy your Foundry instance to an on-premise server, or you can go for a containerized deployment as well. To develop applications in VoltMX, you can leverage our development accelerator called Marketplace. Marketplace, which Shalini will talk about in more detail, supports many adapters that can connect to various backends, 300 plus adapters, as far as as per my last count, to different backends, and you can extend them with any number of, with very just providing an API spec to any number of custom backends. It can also provide you reusable modules called components. It can provide you sample apps, and so on. When choosing which IDE to use, we recommend for citizen developers or business users, you go with Leap. Leap is a low code tool in which you do not really need to customize the app that has been built. You can generate workflows, you can generate data structures, integrations, front end UI, by simply say providing a spreadsheet. It will generate it all for you. But if you want more customization, you want levels of data security, privacy, you want complex workflows to run behind the scenes, then of course we recommend that you go with the professional design ID, which is Iris. Of course, there can be an app which is developed on both fronts. That first a citizen developer comes in and creates something in Leap, then it gets imported into Iris by IT, and then it's pen tested and it's made more stable. So co-development is also possible. Iris, as pointed out before, is our Souvik IDE tool. You can drag and drop widgets from our widget library. You can code, as you can see here, using JavaScript, and that gets, as we pointed out before, during the at build time, to whatever is the corresponding native language. Leap, as pointed out before, is our business user IDE. It is a no-code app creation software. You can define workflows. You can create simple to medium complexity apps using Leap, and you can further extend the functionality or customize the output application with very basic web development skills. And Foundry, as pointed out before, is our middleware layer. Beyond just being a middleware, it can also enforce business rules. It can provide levels of security. It generates reports, analytics, monitoring tools, sends notifications. So a lot of functionality built into it. Very briefly, that is an introduction to VoltMX. Now let us dive into what came as part of the V10, the Darwin release. I will be walking through two of our features. AI is a new buzzword, and we want AI in two different spheres. One, we want AI to aid the developers working on our platform to build the applications. So AI AD, Gen AI, etc. Second, we want AI to be integrated into the applications they develop for their end users. The two features I will be talking about off the bat are all are for developers to accelerate their development. The first is Figma to Iris automated conversion. Most of us are familiar with Figma. It's a design tool. You can design UI, very high fidelity UI in Figma. But as with any platform like VoltMX that comes with its own widget library, now mind you, in VoltMX you can achieve like pixel perfect copy of what you designed in Figma, because every aspect of the widgets can be customized, but it still needs to be done. Somebody needs to recreate that design in Iris using all the properties and customizations that we provide. This feature, however, enables us to import a Figma design directly into Iris with the power of AI in the back end. Now, why we went with the AI instead of a scripted conversion is you can design anything in Figma. You can use simple frames. You can use a component library that's specific to your enterprise. There are no limits to how a particular element can be designed. We cannot have scripted conversions of all of that into uh, so, that's why we wanted to build intelligence into the conversion, where the AI determines by looking at the basic design, okay, is this a button, is this an input field, is it a simple label with a rectangle highlight around it, right? Now, these designs in Figma can work across mobile, tablet, or desktop channels. You have to specify which channel you want to import it in as, and it will basically use Gen AI to generate the corresponding design. So the steps are: first, you import a plugin into Figma. From Figma, you export the raw data and assets using that plugin. You import that JSON. It's bundled in a zip file into Iris, and Iris basically passes it onto our model, which converts the raw structure that's part of the JSON into a corresponding iris project structure. And then you finally have the application. A quick video to run us through how this works. This is Iris, and here we are creating a new app. I will jump to the part where we are exporting the designs from Figma. So this is Figma. Here, this is a design in Figma. I select which frame I want to export, and I go ahead and export it. So this is the page I want to import into Iris, right? So for this demo, I'm exporting one for tablet as well, and one for and one for mobile. As you can see, for mobile, we deliberately chose one that goes out of the visual range. Once the exports are done, we come to Iris. We just say import the Figma form and select the zip that was exported. And here we are importing the mobile design first. Right? So we can see that the form is generated. This was a form that was originally there. You see, it's it basically created a hierarchy of containers and all the other structures, and it generated the form in Iris. Of course, it's not integrated with the backend, but that bit can also be done through the data panel. But it generates the UI, and if the more best practices are followed in the original design, the better the conversion is. Now we have imported the design for tablet as well, and eventually we will be importing the design for web. Yeah, here it is. These designs are not static. These are all editable elements. So here we are just showing that here, it generated a label for the name of the product. So we are just going and we are editing it after importing it. So these are not static designs. Everything that's imported can be edited. It can be integrated into a live data source to fetch the data at runtime. All of that can be done in Iris. We As with any AI model, it would grow more accurate and reliable with time. Um, Currently, we say that you could save at least 50% of your UI development time by using this automated tool. But moving forward, of course, we expect it to go higher in terms of effort and time saved. The next AI related AI AD feature that I want to talk about is RAG enabled Volt IQ. Volt IQ has been part of Volt Iris for close to 2 years now. Uh, it's basically a AI development assistant that's built into Iris. You could ask it questions, it would give you answers. You could give it natural language instructions. It would execute instructions as like if you just tell it or create a new project, create a form, build my project, run a preview. It would do all of that, right? You wouldn't actually have to trigger the actions yourself. You could give it instructions. It could translate apps. It could enforce best practices. Um it, uh, it could do a bunch of things already, but when it came to answering queries, say your query was say it's a complex query, and it needed to point out the um, answer from three different sources, and it tells you, okay, look at this video, look at this article, and look at this documentation link. You would still need to go through those various sources to probably get your answer. You can piece it together and get your answer. With V10, however, we have enhanced our Volt IQ with RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation. Now, what it would do is it will go through all the sources, generate a comprehensive answer for you, maybe generate code samples, give you all the references and links that it has used to generate that response, collect your feedback, for whatever answer generated and improve itself based on your feedback. This just is a simple flow of how it works. You ask a question, we basically split it up into smart prompts. We look up the relevant information, then we use GenAI to generate the response and pass it back to you. Then we collect your feedback and improve the answer as well as the performance of the LLM by punching in the feedback that was provided. Let us take a quick look at the feature in action. So of course here it's prompting us. We are asking it a question. How do we enable internationalization? So instead of providing you links that, hey, go through this documentation or go through this video, here it has generated an answer for you step by step. And if you feel this answer does not meet your requirements, or it's vague, it's repetitive, not accurate, you can provide the feedback and the model will take that into account. We can also ask it a question like, oh, give me a sample code for how to animate a button. So here it has generated a sample code for you to copy into your project. So yeah, so another question again, a third example here. We are asking how basically to create a form, add some buttons in the center. And this is not something that you would probably just go to a documentation and see, okay, how do I do it? It's a combination of data from different sources, some code here and there. And here it will put all the sources together, of course, and walk you through the entire process of how to do exactly what you asked it to do. We expect this agent to, I mean, it will keep evolving, grow more accurate over time, but it's certainly really helpful for anyone who is new to the tool, is to the platform, who is learning the platform, and maybe they haven't gone through all the training courses, right? They can dive right in and ask IQ, how do I do it? And it will walk you through exactly the process of how it needs to be done. You don't have to go through documentation except in extreme circumstances, really. So that is the second feature for AI AD that we released as part of our v10. For our third major feature, which is governance, I would invite Shalini, my colleague, to take it from here.
Thank you, Souvik. Hi, everyone. I'm Shalini, and I'll be talking about the rest of the v10 features. And first one is governance. Can you go to the next slide?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, governance is the structured process that ensures business critical operations involving application runtimes such as deployments pass through a controlled review process that is secure, traceable, and auditable. Now, coming to when do we actually need governance? So the decision to enable governance for a specific application runtime is a function of velocity versus security. Runtimes that require frequent updates like developer or test environments usually benefit from higher velocity and are therefore not ideal candidates for governance. Production runtimes, on the other hand, require tight control and security, which makes governance essential for them. So while governance can be enabled on any environment, we recommend that you do so when you need to prioritize security and control over velocity. Now let's take a quick look at how the governance review pipeline works. So any changes made to design time definitions of Foundry applications is outside the scope of governance. Developers can freely update any apps they have access to in the Volt Foundry console. However, when they try to push their changes to a governance-enabled runtime environment, whether through publish or unpublish action triggered via Foundry console or Voltaris build operations, a review request must be raised for their proposed changes. The review request then flows into a common pool from which an approver, which is a new member role, an admin, or an account owner performs impact assessment So they may choose to hold the request until deployment aligns with release timelines or perform integrity and correctness checks and then either approve or decline it. And these decisions are informed by a diff generated between the proposed deployment changes versus the live application definition of the runtime at the time. Now, while an application is marked for a review request against a specific environment, no other similar review request can be raised for that environment till the original one is resolved. And once approved, the requester or any user with approver, admin, or owner roles can proceed to deploy the changes to the runtime. Now, let's walk through the feature from a user's perspective. So we start by logging into Foundry console with the member role and select an application to edit. In this demo, we'll make a simple change to a service definition by adding a new parameter or updating the REST API endpoint. So once the changes are made, we save them and proceed to the publish step. At this point, we are informed that a review is mandated for the specific runtime. So we go ahead and raise the publish request. Now, before submitting the request, we're shown a detailed diff highlighting all the changes we have made. After reviewing the diff, we add a comment and then submit the request for review. Once the request is raised, we as a requester receive an email confirming that our changes have been sent for review. At the same time, all users with approver, admin, or owner roles are notified that a request is pending. Following this, we log in as an approver, go to the review dashboard, and select the request we want to review. Now here, the approver can see the requester's comment along with the detailed breakdown of proposed changes. They can then choose to approve or decline the request, add their comment, and submit their decision. A mail is then triggered to the original requester, informing them of the decision so they can proceed further. So let's log back in as the original member who raised the request. We go to the same application we raised this request for, go to Publish tab, and then review the approver's comments. Now, if the request has been approved, we can proceed to deploy the changes. And if in any case it's declined, obviously this operation will not be possible. So Foundry application changes can also be initiated from Volt Iris. In this case, we have the same application linked to a Volt Iris project, and we will be cloning a new service into the definition of this application. Now, when we attempt to initiate a build after adding this new service, we are again taken to the same review flow we saw earlier in the Foundry console, ensuring consistent governance regardless of where the changes originates. That's it for this section. Now, next are Volt Iris UI UX updates. So with v10 release, Volt Iris which is our integrated development environment, has received significant UI updates across both developer interface and the default look and feel of widgets and templates used in application design. So the IDE has been redesigned with better grouping, segmentation, and feature exposure for enhanced usability. Across all the new designs, we've followed a modern UI best practices across color selection, contrast, sizing, spacing, icons, and many others, catering to diverse user accessibility concerns while also ensuring a clean, modern, aesthetically appealing interface. Now, let me quickly walk you through some of the key updates that we have done. The Project Explorer has been revamped and now uses stacks instead of tabs, making navigation cleaner and easier to follow. Several areas like canvas control views, toolbar, console UI, and properties panels have been redesigned to feel more intuitive and easier to work with. We've also improved theme support across the IDE. Earlier, the dark theme applied only to the main interface, but not to pop-ups. But the interface now fully supports both light and dark themes, including all pop-ups. And as part of this effort, more than 100 pop-ups have been redesigned with the focus for better visual clarity. These UI updates also go beyond the IDE interface. The default theme of widget library has also been refreshed. All out-of-the-box widgets and templates have been visually updated to align with the new styling guidelines. And finally, we have made both UI and functional improvements to the action editor and associated screens. Developers can now clearly see which action sequences contains errors, directly from the Action tab, along with more detailed issue listings while designing action sequences. So overall, these changes are focused on helping developers design visually appealing applications more easily and efficiently. More enhancements are planned in upcoming updates. Now, let's look at another feature called the live activities, designed to enhance real-time user engagement. So, live activities allow applications to surface real-time updates directly to users, even when the app is not actively in use. And these updates can appear on the lock screen, within the app, and in the dynamic island. Can you go to the next slide, Souvik? Yeah, as you can see at the top of the screen. I think there's another picture you have to, yeah. This feature is currently supported on iPhone 14 Pro Plus and devices running Watch OS 11. So compared to traditional notifications, live activities are far more effective at capturing user attention, especially in scenarios where timely real-time updates are critical for the users. For example, they can be used to show the status of a service request or inspection, or surface alerts during ongoing public safety incidents, and even simple scenarios like tracking an arriving cab, monitoring an ongoing workout, or following a flight update. Let's look at how this appears in practice. So the first one is how, the first one, the lock screen. Yeah. So this is how live activity appears on the lock screen. So when you unlock the phone, the same activity is visible in the dynamic island at the top of the screen. You can tap to expand the view or collapse it back to a minimal view. So even while the screen is locked, users can see the real-time updates for a specific task, such as a cab that is about to arrive. In the second case, the same update can also be delivered as a notification. So in this example, we see a flight gate change notification being pushed to users of an airline app. So in addition to emails or airport announcements, these live activities also provide a direct and highly visible way to share critical updates. And the last one is the watch integration. So live activities also sync seamlessly with the connected Apple Watch. The updates appear on the watch in real time, and it allows users to stay informed without needing to check their phone. Now, these are only a few examples. Obviously, there's a lot more that is possible with this feature, and with these enhancements, we hope to make it straightforward for developers to include live activities as part of their overall user experience to help them build more engaging and responsive applications. Now, let's go to the next slide. So next is apps for cars. So Voltamix is a multi-experience application development platform that already supports iOS, Android, Windows, native and web applications. It enables developers to build experiences across mobile, tablet, kiosk, desktop, and even IoT and smartwatches. Now with this release, we have added the ability to build applications for car as well. So basically you can connect your mobile application to the car infotainment system with support for both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And you can now access this key application functionality safely while driving without relying on your mobile device. And this is especially valuable where users are frequently on the move. So rather than requiring them to look at the phone, important information can be surfaced directly through the car interface. And this could include navigation details, route guidance, nearby fuel stations. So one example that we have here is of searching for fuel stations while you're on the move. So from the car interface, users can view nearby fuel stations, see how much deviation is required from the current route, and you can also combine it with AI to identify the best fuel price along with the most efficient route. And this way, users can initiate navigation directly from the car application to guide them to the destination. Now, as a result, you gain new ways to engage customers using the car experiences as another touch point tailored to your requirements. Now, let's go to the next slide. Now, next feature is passkey. So passkey is basically a passwordless authentication credential that is based on the WebAuthn standard, and it was designed to replace and address many of the challenges associated with traditional passwords, such as poor usability, security risks, and frequent resets. So what are the benefits of using it with Voltamix? The most immediate one is passwordless login. So users no longer need to remember passwords or go through the reset flows. Next is authentication can be done using biometrics, which include fingerprint or face ID or even a device PIN, depending on how you configure the passkey. And because they use public key cryptography, the private key remains safe within the user's device, so the data is secure. And you do not have to rely on traditional multi-factor authentication like sending SMS. They are integrated directly with the operating system itself, which simplifies the login experience. Now, that also makes it phishing proof since the private key remains on the device. And they are also significantly faster. So with a single tap, users can authenticate without typing passwords or waiting for OTPs. And it works across different OSs as well. So we support passkey on iOS, Android, and web. You can securely sync passkeys across devices. I'll talk more on this in the next slide. And lastly, unlike traditional passwords, obviously the sign-in success rate is much higher here, along with speed and efficacy. Now let's take a look at a quick demo of how this works. So you register for a passkey, and once you've done that, you can sync it up with your biometrics and login. So as I mentioned before, they support secure cross-device usage. A user can generate a QR code on one device, either iOS or Android, and scan it from the another device to reuse the same passkey and continue logging in securely. This makes switching between the devices seamless. And in this other example, the same passkey-based authentication is also supported on the web, enabling passwordless login in browser-based applications as well. That's it for this section. Now, let's take a look at what's new in the v10 marketplace. Can you go to the next slide? v10 marketplace is the central access point for assets such as data adapters and backend services, pre-built UI components, logic modules, AI assets and integrations, and sample applications. It's designed to boost developer productivity by offering hundreds of reusable assets for building multi-experience applications across mobile, web, chat, and other channels. But beyond productivity, it's also a space to seed ideas, explore what's possible, and experiment with integrations and learn from sample apps. So our aim is to help teams understand what is possible and accelerate how quickly they can move from concept to execution. Now, coming to how to use the marketplace, it's quite straightforward. You start by browsing the available assets across different categories that I mentioned. There are also filters available to help you narrow results by asset type, platform, or supported channels. Each asset page includes a preview option using a 5-digit preview code that can be entered in the v10 app that we have, or you can simply scan the QR code to instantly try out the asset. All the assets also include video demos and clear documentation, which makes it quite easy to evaluate them before integration. And once you select the assets can be downloaded and imported directly either into Volt Iris for UI components and logic modules or into Volt Foundry for backend services and data adapters. And after the integration, assets are ready to test and deploy. Most of the assets are designed to be plug and play with minimal setup, so they're quite easy to use. Go to the next slide. Now with v10, the marketplace has evolved into a powerful AI and integration hub. We refer to this as the v10 AI ecosystem. It's basically a growing collection of AI-powered assets designed to help teams build smarter applications faster and with less effort. The AI ecosystem brings together pre-built components, backend connectors, and sample apps, along with integrations to a variety of AI services. Now, these assets are reusable and extensible, which allows teams to integrate AI into their existing workflows or extend functionality using their own models and services. Can you go to the next slide? So today, Marketplace hosts over 600 total assets. Out of these, more than 100 are AI powered, covering many use cases, which I'll be talking about in the next slide. And in the latest release alone, we've added 16 new high value assets. Again, I'll talk about this later. And we currently have a variety of AI assets from AWS, Microsoft, and Google, giving teams the flexibility to build on the cloud services they already use. Can you go to the next slide? So at a high level, the AI ecosystem brings together a broad set of intelligent capabilities that teams can easily build on. So we have for document and text intelligence, the marketplace offers assets that help extract, analyze, and understand information from documents and images. For generative AI and content creation, it includes support for image generation, along with components for text expansion, story generation, and creating structured content. For conversational and voice experiences, there are ready-to-use chatbot frameworks, voice assistants, text-to-speech, speech-to-text, and other voice-driven interfaces. For image and video intelligence, teams can derive meaningful visual insights from images and video content. And for natural language processing, the marketplace provides integrations for language understanding, sentiment analysis, and other related use cases. Beyond AI, Marketplace also offers a set of high-value enterprise integrations, like I mentioned before, including Snowflake, Salesforce Health Cloud, and Monday.com. In addition, it includes assets for location-based services, environmental data, and augmented reality. We also provide ready-to-use utilities like MLKit, barcode, QR scanning, or document scanning, which helps teams accelerate common real-world use cases without building everything from scratch. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So the marketplace is continuously updated by Excel software teams and our growing developer community. We're continuously expanding the collection as well. All the assets are free to download with bring your own API keys for third-party services. So whether someone is starting from scratch or enhancing an existing app or adding intelligent capabilities, the marketplace and AI ecosystem provide a strong head start. That wraps up this section. Next, we'll look at the features introduced post V10 along with what's coming up next. Over to you, Shavik.
Thanks, Shalini. Um, so let's go through some of the features that were released post V10. As I mentioned, V10 was in the July timeframe, so we have made updates since then in October, in November. The one that's currently on the screen, Aura, is basically a vibe coding tool that will work along with VoltMX, Volt Foundry integration specifically. And it will go into early access in February. We can discuss the timeline in a bit. But what is Aura basically? What is vibe coding? So it's basically rapid prototyping where you give a set of natural language prompts, and that can be converted into working apps. Um, what's unique about Aura is one major concern for us while generating these apps is not just, hey, let's make a good looking app. That's definitely a concern, but we also want to make your app secure. If we want to integrate that app with a backend, we want to follow best practices in how the data is handled, maintained, how your keys and secrets are encrypted and where they are stored, whether your policies are being followed, how the caching is basically implemented. So we want to generate apps for enterprises. We that take into account a wide range of security and privacy concerns, and not just cater to the prompt, make something look good and meet your minimum requirement, and say, okay, I'm done, do the rest yourself. We want to go above and beyond that. We want to create an app that you can that has a clean code that you can then easily test, modify with subsequent prompts, and eventually deploy. uh, So some of the other features of Aura is that you can specify style guidelines, which are basically followed by your enterprises. You can load it up with your preferences, your themes, your local preferences, your accessibility concerns and guidelines, and it will generate apps based on your requirements. It will generate reusable components, so it will reduce the size of your application considerably. uh, Now, what we have to understand with this is the more detailed your prompt is, of course, the more likely the output is closer to the application that you are eventually going to get. I have seen prompts that run into pages, right? And the application generated by Aura is exactly as requested by the user. But if you give a three-line prompt, yes, you might have to sit with it, edit it. Again, using prompts, you can say, okay, change this a bit, change that a bit. I want this to be a bit different, integrate it with whatever other data backend. You might have to iteratively update it based on how good you are with prompt engineering, which is a field in itself. um, and as I mentioned, Aura integrates your front end application to your backend using Foundry. So it basically brings in all the advantages that Foundry has, which is like auditing. You can limit number of transactions. You can impose rate limits. It basically provides security. Um, all the token handling is done on the Foundry end, which is basically a black box to the front end application. You can audit applications. It provides monitoring, analytics, observability, all of that. Everything that comes with Foundry basically becomes available to your Aura applications. You must have seen a small star next to Aura in the previous slide. We will go into early access with Aura, but the final uh, uh, name, it will still possibly be Aura, but it is Aura as of now, but it is subject to change. Let us take a quick look at a sample application that was built. Here we are using like the simplest of simple prompts, a simple to-do app with basically what it needs to do. This is my prompt. It's just a one-sentence prompt, a two-line prompt. And what Aura does is it tells you, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. These are my to-dos. These are the steps that I will follow. And then it basically runs through all the steps one after another and starts generating the application. Eventually, it tells you exactly what it did. So this is what I built. This is why I did it. These are some of the advantages. Uh, Everything, right? And then if you need to edit it, you can of course give it further prompts and say that, okay, no, please change this to something else, please change that to something else. If you feel like you have made some changes you do not intend to, you can roll back to any of the previous saved states. You can see all the files that it has generated. Of course, the application is can be immediately previewed on the right in the pane, or you can just pop it out and view it in a full screen mode. You can see it has created like a task management system where you're creating the tasks. You can see the tasks are getting added. And if you mark any of the tasks as complete, it moves into, okay, here I marked a couple of them as active and one as complete, and it just moved into corresponding tab. It's a very simple use case, but I mean, it was a one line prompt, right? So based on how complex your prompt is, it can generate an entire application. We have had some of our project leaders, when we gave them out for internal trials, overnight they have created like entire asset management applications for their team and everything, with minimal development experience, because it's all done through natural language prompts. It's And that's the power of vibe coding. You do not have to write a single line of code, and you can create great applications. um, so as I mentioned, we will go into early access with Aura in February, for limited audience. The tool itself will GA in June with broader availability, and it will have a full multi-experience. It will go GA with web only, so web applications can be built. But eventually around October it will be able to build mobile and tablet applications as well. So of uh, a more enhanced release would be towards basically the fourth quarter of the year. But yeah, we go GA in June. The next tool I would like to focus on is Aeon. AI it's basically AIML, AI machine learning. Uh, if you want to train your own models, uh, say you want to use any of the available models, and you have to feed it data. It's public, it's out there on the cloud. You do not always want your data to flow out of your systems, go to a public model for you to have to train it, for you to get responses, predictions, whatever is your use case from it. What AI on provides you with is basically a way to create your own model that you can deploy locally and connect to from your applications. Foundry has built-in adapters to Aeon. So Aeon, while it's its own interface where you can create the model, it is integrated with Foundry, so you can directly hit the endpoints from your Voltamex applications, and you can basically get your predictions if that's your use case. Just to give an example, so the flow is, of course, you have your data source, you feed it to the model builder, which performs your integrity analysis. It eventually builds the model based on the cleaned data. It will test your predictions and export the model for you to develop to sorry deploy and then connect to from it will give you basically a container that you can deploy and connect to. It can be deployed onto your local network, a protected environment, so all your data remains within your network. It remains secure. It doesn't flow out into a public model anywhere. Show a quick video. This is the model builder. It's a fairly long video. I will jump through it. So uh, when you basically start it up, you can basically create. Here we are creating a new use case. So when we create a new use case, right, we give it a description. We of course give it what our data source is. I mean, in the following example, we'll probably just be providing a CSV, but you can connect it to a data source as well that has a large volume of data. Then you select, of course, it gets imported, right? It checks integrity of the data and sees if there's an issue. Here we just selected a CSV. Then you select what is your problem type. Now these problem types, you would always have to select a problem type, what you want to achieve, what is the model you want to run on it, what is the algorithm. That can get fairly complex if you're not a data scientist. We have a feature up here called AutoML. You don't want to do all of that, right? You just tell the builder that, okay, this is my data, this is what I want to achieve, I want to do predictions, or I want to do classification based on this data, and you take care of the rest. You basically recursively process the data, tune it, do whatever you need, right? So you just select AutoML, and the rest of of the options become quite easy for you. But if you do not want to do that, you can select your problem, you can select the features, you can select the uh, uh, model that you want to run. Eventually you would obviously get your model trained. Then you can generate various reports on the model, check its precision, check what kind of deviation it has. Of course, all of these reports makes a lot more sense to a data scientist, which I am not. You can fine tune your model with multiple iterations. You can feed it more data. You can retrain it. If you spot there is a bias or a drift, you can correct it uh, through multiple runs. And you can test the model within the tool, right? So you can keep testing and refining your model. Once your model is ready, you can deploy it, of course, as wherever you wish to put your container, and then it will give, of course, your endpoints which you can connect to from your app. If you're working with Foundry, of course, the adapter is already there. So you just need to build and point to the model, and it will expose all the endpoints for you to use in your application. The next item we would be looking at is HCL Universal Orchestrator, which is the agentic AI builder. Again, the AI builder itself is its own interface outside of VoltMX, but it is again integrated into Foundry. It's basically a paid add-on for VoltMX, and it's integrated into Foundry where you can connect to your agent. But of course, the building of the agent builder is a separate interface, a web-based interface. So here, can just take a quick look at the video. This is the agent builder. It as the name implies, it allows you to create intelligent autonomous agents, AI based agents that you can then deploy and connect to. uh, Agents can be built with natural language prompts, so you do not have to actually know coding. But of course, if you want to, you can do service integrations, you can do additional scripting, you can tweak the models used for each of the sub agents. You can do all of that, mind you. You can uh, get into the, you can start micromanaging how each agent works. But you can also just give it simple natural language prompts and generate a entire workflow that way. Of course, the workflows that are generated can be deterministic, or it can be adaptive. It can modify the workflow on the fly based on the output from other agents, external uh, uh, services, etc. Uh, so here, just the video, the agent is ready. We are able to test it. It's a simple chatbot agent, right? We are just connecting to it, and we are getting responses. As mentioned, this tool is no code. You can provide scripts, service integrations, etc., but you do not need to. You can generate fairly usable agents using just natural language prompts. uh, it can generate full workflows. There are a bunch of pre-built agents that we bundle for you to use or study and develop your own. And again, the agent can be deployed locally, and that if you have privacy and security concerns, that kind of takes care of that. Now, here is an example of an agent that has been integrated into a VoltMX application. It's basically, unfortunately, this person has had a car accident. They are trying to raise an insurance claim. Uh, the agent in the back end is an AI agent that was designed in Uno. The front end of the application, the integration is created in Voltiris. On the flow on the left, the blue portions are basically the agent, the green steps are Iris. So of course you say that, oh, I had this accident, so I need to raise an insurance claim. Right? So it asks for the details. Of course, it gathers all the details, detects your location. Here it asks for you to upload like a live picture of the damage. Here you do, we use augmented reality to identify that. All of that is like done by Iris, right? Once all of that is done, or rather the application built in Iris, all the data is passed on to the agent in the back, and eventually it gives you an estimate. If you're okay, basically go and file a claim. uh, of course, it can also suspect a fraud, and in that case it will not inform the user, but it will raise an incident, appropriate incident in the background if it detects a fraud. So you design this agent flow. You create a front end app in Iris, and using Foundry you can integrate together to basically have a very simple use case. Now, this is a very simple one agent system. But as I mentioned before, using Uno, you can create workflows involving as many agents as you want. And the flows can be completely adaptive, probabilistic flows. They don't have to be pre-specified static flows. Right. So this is another integration that we have released. It's an add-on to VoltMX, with the AI builder being its own interface and the integration being done through Foundry. Um, so let me wrap up with the AI off releases. Why AI off? We talked about AI so much. So why do we need AI off? We have seen that many industries um, have concerns about integrating AI related tools into their development environments or into their client end applications. Even if they do not have concerns, there might be regional or organizational guidelines which say that, oh, you cannot use AI tools, especially when it relates to this type of customer data. This additional um, set of guidelines need to be followed. You cannot use AI here. There might be regulations, right? There are sometimes concerns, how reliable is it, because AI is still a developing field. It's really good, but it can always get better, right? So people, so certain industries have concerns over the integrity, completeness, precision, etc. of the output from an agent. For this specific reason, for both AI as part of the final application that a customer builds, as well as being part of the platform itself, VoltMX releases a version of its platform called the AI off version, in which we have removed all the tools that are integrated into the source code, as well as we have disabled all the integrations with external agents that the platform has, to ensure that you do not have to agree to AI related terms or have the concern of AI being part of the build platform or your final application. So this is a complete AI free version of VoltMX that we periodically release for certain milestone releases, to ensure that industries with concerns about AI are not left behind. That is the end. We will be taking questions now.